Hello and welcome. In today's video, I was thinking I'd share with you my collection of guitars. I'm sort of taking a break from building things and just chillaxing today, and so I was thinking that I'd crawl around on the floor and show you all my guitars, because I have them hanging on the wall, at least most of them, and so some of them are very far down. And we'll start off in this corner with this guitar right here, which you might have seen. This is the Butt guitar, which I had this idea that I would make a body blank, sort of a square body, and build a guitar like that. So somewhat like the kit guitars that you've seen, around. Everyone has that sort of kit guitar now. I think Crimson Guitar was first, but anyway, I had the idea that it would be interesting to ask someone who doesn't really have any connection to guitars to design a guitar, and let them use their connection to designing things as a standoff point. Sort of like, what if a car designer designed a guitar, or what if a clothing designer of some sort designed a guitar? Like, would something different come out? And it comes from the idea that I feel like, as someone who's designed guitars and built guitars for a long time, I'm getting more and more into a habit of how things should look. But there is no real how things should look. There's only good designs and bad designs. But there are certain things that come up. So I was thinking, what if I ask my sister, who is an artist and who draws beautiful paintings, to make me a guitar? And what she did was a butt. So here's the butt, and here's the leg, and here's the foot. Maybe a little bit hard to see, because you have to play the guitar to see it. And no one really picked up on it, and it didn't make a big thing on YouTube. It wasn't as interesting as I thought people would think it was. And so I sort of abandoned the whole thing and didn't do much more with it than that. Because if no one is interested in the guitar, then I don't have to share it with you. But it is a really nice guitar. Anyway, behind me here is my 335 or whatever it's called. It's an Epiphone from 2007. And it's a really nice guitar. I know that some people think that Epiphone is just a sort of lower version of Gibson, but I have always felt that Epiphones are better guitars than Gibsons. I've never really understood the whole Gibson thing and why some people seem to care. But here it is. And it sounds nice. And here is my bass. I know, we gotta have at least one for all the little bassists out there. This is Fiora, my bass. It's a Squier bass from, what could it be? It's 2006 or something like that. I actually was a bassist in a metal band at one point, but I got kicked out for not being a Metallica fan, which I think is ridiculous. But, if you don't like lame music, you're gonna get scolded. It's a really nice bass anyway, and I really like it. I've changed out one of the pickups for a mini humbucker, which has fattened up and made it even more into something that I really like. So yeah. Let's see. Here's a Strat, black Strat. I think you guys might have seen the videos where I made this. It was one of the earlier things I did this year. I have a video coming at some point. I'm still working on it, but I'm going to do some strange electronics to this guitar. So yeah, there's going to be more on this guitar, but I can't tell you about that yet, because it's one of those things where I have to go back and forth and play things and experiment and figure out exactly what I want, so that I know precisely the thing, whatever it is. But it sounds great. It has Alnico 5 pickups. the Roswell, if you want to know. I think they're really good. I've changed the shape of the neck, so it's more thin. It's a little bit flat in the back. It's not a Ibanez, but it's closer to an Ibanez, which is something that I really like. If I had my own signature Fender, it would be a cool relic looking Strat, but with like an Ibanez feeling kind of neck, because that I think would be the best of two worlds. And obviously 3 single coils, because you gotta have that. And next to it is my golden Strat, called the Jawbreaker, because it has this color thing that I did. It was also one of those things that didn't take off on the channel. Basically, I painted the guitar, and the idea was that it has super thin layers, so I will eventually wear through them. And the idea was to see how long it takes for me to wear through a layer and what color is underneath, because I made that as a mystery thing. If you saw the videos, you will know exactly what I talked about. But again, it didn't really take off. It wasn't really something that anyone was interested in. I was thinking we'd have some sort of bet going on and see who won or something. But no one did, and it's been too long. And so, yeah, made a video relicking the guitar, made a video putting on these stickers that is a mouth holding a Jawbreaker, the candy, because they also have the whole layer thing going on. It's just really cool. And this is the guitar with the passive distortion knob. So it has a volume, a tone, and a distortion, which some of you might have seen that video at least, because I decided at one point that I didn't want a yellow guitar, sorry. So I painted it golden, making an extra layer, because no one was really paying attention to this guitar. But then it got a lot of attention when I repainted it and made the distortion thing. At some point I want to figure out maybe 3D print or something like that. I kind of want to get into 3D printing a little bit. It's one of those, you know, this is gonna eat up a lot of time, and I don't know if I can justify spending the time on it. But I'd be interested in learning 3D printing, and I'm thinking it'd be cool to 3D print volume, tone, and distortion, so it's written on it. And maybe that could be a cool thing. Maybe I could sell those kind of knobs or something. I don't know. But it's a really nice guitar. I'm not super fond of the neck because it's a little bit thinner that way, but and not super thin, thick-wise. And so I'm thinking that at some point I might take down a little bit on the back just to make it a little bit less of a D, and you know, and making it, you know, less like that and widen it out like that by removing some of the back. But I'm also worried that that will make the neck too small for me. So yeah, that's that guitar. There isn't really anything fun to say about it. The story is mostly that no one paid attention to it when I made it. And it was, I mean, it still is an Encore guitar because the logo is still on the headstock, as you can see. But it was a guitar that had everything stripped out of it, and I even reshaped. I cut out the horn and I inlaid a new piece of wood, and I reshaped it so a Fender pickguard would fit. And yeah, it's a little bit sharp right up here than it should be technically, but I really like it. Yeah, it's one of those guitars that I sort of forget about, and then I go to play it and I'm like, wow, why did I forget about this? And I have to play it because it's really good. And then next to it, behind me here, is my old Squier Japan Strat. This is from the 80s. And when I bought it, it was relicked and all messed up and made into a Jimi Hendrix guitar. And I had to fix it and turn it back into a good guitar, you know? I mean, I understand that people think it's cool to buy left-handed guitars and turn them into right-handed guitars and pretend that they're Jimi Hendrix, but I also kind of hate it. You know, like, it's fine if you like it and it makes you want to play it. You know, it's all good. But I also feel, you know, like, that's our guitars. You should leave them for us, you know. But that's just silly talk. It's a really nice guitar. It's really cool. Like if you haven't played the Japanese Fenders or Squires, then you really should. Especially if you can get a good deal on them. They are like, they're so good. I've played a lot of vintage guitars, not a lot left-handed, but this one holds up to any like old like 60s Fender that I've ever played. It doesn't have a nitro finish, but I think that people make that out to be more important than it is. I'll talk about it a little bit later, because we have another guitar that I probably should have made a video about a while back, clearing some mistake up. But yeah, such a good guitar, amazing. I've worn out the frets twice on this guitar, and it needs new frets, so I can't really play it for you. But it needs some love and care, and I've been slacking in that department. But it's one of those guitars that, you know, if I could only have one, yeah, it might be that one. And the next to it right here is my black Strat that I made a while back. You must remember the video. Well, first I made a kit guitar from Harley Benton. It's so strange, because it's that philosophical question, or if you have a hammer and the handle breaks and you get a new handle, and then the head breaks and you get a new head, is it still the same hammer? That's sort of the thing here. Because I made a video series that also didn't really take off. Nothing ever really takes off the way I think it would. But I made a video series that you can find called Jimi Hendrix Harley Benton Guitar, which was basically, I'm taking a kit guitar and I'm just looking at what I get and see how can I make this the best I can make it. And since it's a right-hand guitar, I will flip it and play it Jimi Hendrix style, you know, because that's what he did. And since I'm left-handed, I also have to do that. And so the play here was that, you know, best guitar is best guitar, you know, sort of, I don't know. I probably could have come up with better, more clickbaity names, but I don't know. It doesn't come natural to me to do that, and it's also something I'm not very good at. But anyway, at some point I just got kind of fed up with the whole playing upside down, because it's not that nice to do and it's uncomfortable. And so I made a new body for it. And then at some point I was like, I can't have two black Strats. And I don't really like the reversed headstock thing. I understand that some people really like that, but usually it's a right-handed guitar player thing that finds that to be interesting, and left-handed players mostly find that to be kind of annoying, you know, because it's like, I'm not really getting a left-handed guitar, I'm getting a flipped right-handed guitar, and it's not as fun. Maybe that's just me, but anyway, yeah, this got a new neck, and so it changed again, and it's really cool. It's to me it's strange, this guitar, which is something that I haven't really been able to put my fingers on really, because it sounds strange to me, and I think it's because it has some sort of like woolly acoustic sound to it. I mean, it doesn't sound dead, but everything on it it has a more, it doesn't have the percussive of an acoustic guitar, but the softness of an acoustic guitar, which I don't know what to make out of it. But I think it's just like, if I strum one guitar and then I strum this guitar, keep in mind they might be a little bit out of tune, but it's just, there's a certain softness to it. It's like the least angry guitar ever or something. I don't know. Right next here, because I don't want to have to sit down again, this is a guitar I made. It's one of my earliest guitars when I was trying to come up with my own guitar designs, and so this is a shape that I've drawn out myself with pickguard and everything. It's my own design of a guitar. It's really nice and comfortable. It's also super thin, as you can see. So all screws and everything had to be modified to work with this, so it wouldn't poke out the back. It's called Miranda, and it has a certain kind of it's not epoxy, but it's sort of like epoxy flown into the wood, to make it harder. It's a sort of plastic you use for boats to impregnate the wood and make it harder. It's not classified as a resin, but I don't really know how to explain it. And that's what this whiteness is, because I basically impregnated it and I sanded and shaped it and made it into a guitar. And the white at certain points just stuck through. And so all I had to do was put in a little bit of color into the wood, and it has a really nice... It looks duller on the camera, and then in real life, but it has this weird where it's like purple and red in certain areas. And it's a really nice guitar. It has a neck issue where the neck is slowly separating from the body, so I can't play it as much as I would like to, but it's a really nice guitar. It sounds really nice. It's also one of those I need to get, stop being lazy and get into working on it and just getting give me some love and care, basically. And the next guitar right here is Mikey, that you might recognize. And remember, it's sort of the Channels guitar, like this is the Channels guitar. I don't know why that happened or but basically there's a build series of this. It's also a Harley Benton kit guitar, a right-handed Telecaster that I made into Mike Bloomfield's guitar. That's why it's called Mikey. And I slowly just turned it in more and more and more into a left-handed guitar. Then I found in a second-hand shop, just lying there, a left-handed neck that was also a Harley Benton neck. And I just turned it into an even more left-handed guitar. And it's one of those things where it's strange, really it is. Because at first it was just a video thing. It was just something I did to make videos that I thought was fun and interesting. A little bit of trying to make something that you guys would like. And making something that maybe I would find fun to do. But I wasn't even going to actually keep the guitar. But then I just found that other neck and I started working on it and putting it together and things happened. And then I found these super cheap pickups on Amazon. And I just really like them. Like, I'm surprised how good they are for being like $14 or something like that. If even that. Like, obviously prices might have changed. This guitar, it's 2 years old or something now, but if you want the same pickups, just go on Amazon, search for Humbucker P90s, take the cheapest you can find, and you have the same. And yeah, and the next guitar is this one. It's called Kalath, or at least I think that's how you pronounce it. It's one of those stupid things when you let your sister name your guitar and she finds an old Sumerian god or demon that introduced music to mankind, and she names it after that, and then you're in trouble because your sister has crazy interests and you can't follow along because they're crazy. So yeah, it has a pentagram of some weird ancient thing drawn in the neck pocket. It has a name after, I think it is supposed to be like the demon who introduced mankind to music. I don't know. Religious people are weird when it comes to what they have hang-ups on. If you're religious, no offense, but Anyway. This guitar is, like, I really like the idea of an old vintage Fender Stratocaster, but it is an Ibanez. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's just... The thing that I don't like about Ibanez's is that they are too... Like, they're too 80s rock guitars or whatever, they don't have that romantic beauty about them that I want in my guitars. Like, I don't really like cool guitars, I like romantic guitars. That's the way I kind of look at it. Probably doesn't make any sense to any of you, but yeah, you won't see any cool guitars here. You'll only see goofy things. But I shaped the neck and the neck pocket, the access, everything, so it looks relict and it looks beaten up and all of that, but it has the the feel and the neck shape of an Ibanez. This is the closest guitar I have to a Ibanez Wizard neck, and I really, really love it. And it has vintage Ibanez pickups. And the reason why it has that is because when I was building this guitar, and before I really knew exactly what it was going to be and how it was going to turn out, I was at a guitar show, and you know, looking at all the cool guitars and walking around there, and this dude that reminds me of the weird stoner guy with the long hair and the beard from that 70s show. I don't remember much about him. I didn't really watch that show, but the guy sort of looked like him. This dude just comes walking like through the aisles, and he has this box with pickups in it, and he's just like, hey man, do you want to buy some pickups? And I'm like, well, what do you got? And he's like, man, I don't know. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, they have a bunch of pickups in this box, and I don't know what they are or anything. And I found this set of 3 pickups in a right-handed pickguard and controls and all of it. And I just thought, well, what do you want for it? And he's like, $8. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure. And then as I'm about to walk away, he's like, hey man, if I had asked for more, would you have given me more? And I'm like, because I don't want to be bad, but the truth is, yeah, I probably would have given you more than $8. But I said, nah, I mean, I don't really know what these are. I don't really know if they're worth anything at all. But, you know, it's a cool thing, giving you a decent price for them. And he was like, oh yeah, cool man. Oh yeah. And I only did that because, you know, I had already paid for them. I had already started walking away with them. And I don't want to tell someone like, yeah, I would have totally, you know, paid $100 for these, but, you know, you're a sucker. Which, I mean, I wouldn't have paid $100 for them, but you know what I mean. Just really strange dude. Just seemed like he was on drugs, just walking around in there, you know, I don't know, with a box of junk. You know, some of the pickups just looked, I don't know, never mind. But I really like this guitar. It's also one of those guitars where it's like, maybe I should spend a little bit of extra time, you know, getting some nice tuners. It doesn't have nice tuners. It has some sort of like Squier tuners or something. It also has my old burned in logo, because I had this other guitar, which I actually am going to show you a little bit later. But I had this other guitar that taught me the lesson of logos, and you know, why some people might want you to build a guitar. Because sometimes people, they want a cool guitar and they want to invest in something cool, but sometimes they're just being shady and weird and strange. And you have to look out for that, because you don't want to get in trouble with the law or something. I don't actually know if I could have gotten in trouble with the law, but I don't know. It doesn't matter, because whatever bad thing could have happened never happened. And yeah, next to it right here, we have my Les Paul Jr. that I made on the channel. I didn't really make it on the channel. I didn't build it. I just replaced the body. And it was one of those moments, you know, this guitar is a bittersweet thing for me, because how do I put this? I was fooled by a YouTuber. You know, it's just, sometimes people are overhyped about guitars, and they talk about them as if they've found the best thing ever, the greatest thing, you know, and they just, I don't know. I think it might have to do with how you record your instrument and things like that. Like if you're using a modular amp or something like that, I think maybe I don't know. I'm sort of on the fence on the whole thing. I think that maybe if you're using a modular amp or something like that to record your guitar, you can't use that for sharing with people online, because it's not a representation of the guitar. But anyway, a certain YouTuber, you probably all know who it is, but I'm not going to tell you, because I don't want to, you know, I don't have anything against him. He shared with me the Holly Benton guitar, or he shared with everyone, you know, but he made a video about it, and it just seemed so good, and I always wanted one, so I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to buy it, and, you know, if there's something that is a little bit wrong with it, I can always fix it. But then I got the guitar, And there was just so many things that was bad about it. Like, it's so bad. And I should have just sent it back, but I have this weird thing about me where it's just like, if something is wrong, I have to try and fix it. I can't just be like, no, send it back, get a new one. Let someone else deal with the issues. Just, no, I have to figure out what it is and take it apart and fix it. And so I did that, and I did it to the point where I couldn't send the guitar back, because it's like, if you destroy your guitar, obviously it's not going to work. Which, if you've seen the video about this guitar where I changed the body, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, I decided that the thing that was a problem was the body. The wood of the body needed to change for something harder, something more resonant, something that works better as a guitar than that piece of wood. And I know we could technically maybe get into the whole tone wood debate here. And I know that some people think that tone wood means everything, and some people think it doesn't mean anything. But it made this guitar a lot better to change out the wood. And I have another thing that I have to talk to you about with this guitar, that because I took this pickguard off not too long ago, because I was contemplating maybe adding something strange, and I realized when the smell came out that it doesn't smell right. And so I had confused myself and thought that I painted this with poly, but it's actually nitro. So I got mixed up, and so there is a video of me showing you how to relic a poly finish, and then there's another video of me showing you how to relic a poly finish on a Les Paul Junior. Basically made the same video twice. But in that video where I show you how I relic this one, it's actually nitro. And I think that's super funny, because I have comments on people telling me that, like, you can't relic poly and it doesn't look good and it won't work, and it doesn't matter what you do, it's just, it's always going to be fake. And it just shows again that most people don't know what they're talking about. They don't know. They're just saying stuff and everyone is just going along with it. And, and it's the same thing with like reviews of cheap and expensive guitars, where they're like, oh, it's an amazing guitar and you won't have to pay $80 for it. And I'm playing it through a modular amp, it's just, it's all more complicated than anyone thinks, and no one is educated on the subject, but they all have opinions. And it's the same thing. Like, I think this guitar became better when I reliced it. I've said this before, and I know that someone is probably going to be irritated with me, but it doesn't really matter, Like, if I think that this guitar that is my guitar is better sounding because I've reliced it, does it matter to you? It shouldn't matter to you, you most likely are never going to play this guitar. And if you are, maybe you'll like it for what it is, Also, you'll not have the option to play it on relict. So, it's a comparison you'll never be able to make. But I really like the guitar. It's really cool. And it's, it has basically everything except the tailpiece and the humbucker. And also the pots are stock from the Harley Benton. It has a Seymour Duncan 50 something pickup. I think it's called something like that. And yeah, it's a really nice one. All right, so here we have my Squier Bullet 2001 Sunburst Stratocaster, which I found on eBay, and I bought it, and I just went, ooh, I've always wanted a Sunburst Strat. Mostly, I think, because of John Frusciante, who plays one most of the time. I'm not super like, oh, I need to have the same model, same year, all of that. I would most likely just ruin that vintage guitar, but I can have something similar looking. And I did a restoration video series where I basically just made this into an awesome guitar and turned it in from junk that I found on eBay into awesome, amazing guitar. I've reliced the guitar. It has some scratches and dings. I did a whole thing about that. I know people say that you can't relic poly, But I've never shown this guitar to anyone and they figured it out to be poly. So if you've seen this guitar, then you've been fooled. If you know that it's poly, then you then you have negative opinions. And it's also, again, the sort of thing, like this guitar people are negative about because you can't relic poly, but it's not poly. So you've been fooled. And this guitar, when I don't tell people, they think it's older than it is. I mean, obviously it still says Squier on it, and obviously I wouldn't tell anyone that it's something it's not, because to me that's not what it's about. Maybe if you guys are interested, I can make a video about why I like relic guitars, because I feel like a lot of the opinions that people are sharing online about why they like relic guitars are not my views on the matter. But this one, it's really awesome. It has the pickups are the stock pickups, but I've modified them so they have neodymium magnets, which I know some people say you can't use, but you definitely can. Sounds awesome. It's really cool. I think that if you have more than one guitar, then you should think about maybe doing that, because it's cool. And yeah, it also has clay inlay lace on the fretboard that I've made. I've made a video on how to do it, and I've also done it on this one. And it has a better block. The rest is stock, except these are also changed out for vintage ones, and it has the John Mayer mod, which I have also made a video on. Relic knobs, you know, things like that. New tuners, vintage style on the headstock. And it's just a really, really cool guitar. It's one of those that you just, you can't beat. And then the next one right here is my Les Paul from, it's an Epiphone, from 1999, which my mother got for me secondhand. And this is actually one of those strange guitars that is just way too good to be true, you know? Like, this is definitely the best guitar I have, or at least one of two or something. It's incredible. Which I know some of you maybe think I'm over exaggerating, but like, whenever I play a Les Paul, I'm always like, you know, if it's better than this one, then I'm getting it. And I've tried everything I can get my hands on, like, you know, every brand and every price point, and I've never caught a single one better. It has vintage Gibson pickups in it from the early 60s, which are just amazing pickups. So it plays beautifully and sounds amazing, and it's just all around just the best thing ever. It's crazy. It's a shame. It should be in the hands of someone who actually knows how to play the guitar. But it's amazing. It doesn't really have that much story, which is sad. I mean, I wish I had some cool, like, oh, I did this or I've done that with it, but I haven't really gone too crazy with it. But anyway, here is Phoenix, which is another guitar that I've made. Maybe I've shown you. It has a really fun story that I'll share with you now that maybe some of you will appreciate. But it's made out of maple, rosewood, and then the body is walnut. Yes. And it's a it has this little phoenix on it, or at least that's what it's supposed to be. And the thing is, this is a really, really silly story of why it's called Phoenix and why it has that little phoenix thing on it. But my neighbor's kids were out playing, and I was doing some yard work, and I don't know why, but for some weird reason they like me, and they're like, hey, we have to go talk to him. And I don't want to, you know, shoo them away and tell them that, like, hey, I'm busy, but I also can't have them like hanging around, you know, because it's like I have stuff to do. And so I quickly went inside and I made a necklace out of a scrap piece of, I think it was Wenge, actually. And it's just because I had it laying around, and also because I know it will look strange to them. Like, what is this weird thing? Because they wouldn't know what Wenge is. And it's a really strange wood. And so I made a dragon necklace. And I told them that, like, oh, there's a troll living here and you'll have to look for it and find clues. And I thought that that would just keep them busy and, you know, get them off my back. But they turned this into a whole big thing, and they started getting all kids in the neighborhood involved in it. And all of a sudden I had all these parents telling me like, you have to make a necklace for my daughter as well, and you have to make, my son wants a necklace. And all of a sudden I was in some sort of production of making magical necklaces for children. Really, really stupid. But then I told them that I found one and that I put it on my guitar, which is what I did. I made one and I put it on the guitar because I thought, oh, that'd be cool if I have one as well. And I told them that it changed the guitar and made it magical and special. And I showed them. I played another guitar through a guitar amp, and then I plugged this in. And as I plugged this in, I also started up my astronomer from Matthews Effects. This pedal right here. I actually have it on floor. This is one of my favorite pedals. I'm constantly using it, and if I'm not using it, I'm forgetting how good it is, and then I'm coming back to it like, whoa, it's so amazing. And it is shimmer pedal, and you probably know how like magical that sounds. So I plugged it in and I played this guitar with that, and just, and the kids went, oh my god, what's going on? This is crazy. And that was a lot of fun. And so, yeah, that guitar became Phoenix, and it has this really strange story about kids not leaving me alone. But I just couldn't, because I hate when people are mean to kids, especially grown-ups. Like, kids being mean to kids is one thing, but grown-ups. So, yeah, that's that guitar. It's a really cool and nice guitar, but it's really heavy. It's not everyday use guitar, but it's really nice. It needs some work done. It needs a little bit of love and care, and I've been putting it off, so I haven't been playing it. As you'll notice, a lot of my guitars need a little bit of work and a little, you know, and I'm not doing it. So yeah, that's that guitar. I can definitely talk more about that story and everything, but it would have to be a separate video then. It's a really fun guitar. It sounds nice, plays beautifully, you know, definitely one of the good ones. And next to it, or above it, I have this guitar, which is my semi-hollow Strat, that you all hopefully saw the video. It wasn't that long ago. I basically bought 2 Harley Bentons, and I made one hollow, and yeah, there is a video comparing the 2 of them as well. I don't know how good of a comparison I would say that it is, but it's, you know, as good of a comparison as I would care to make, which is the best you're gonna get. Because I love the nerdiness and strangeness of guitars, but I also feel like I don't let that get in the way of having fun. You know? Like, I feel like a lot of it is negativity, and a lot of it is things that are taking things too serious in a negative way, and not too serious in a fun way. But you're going to see more of this guitar. I have some ideas for things I'm going to do to it, some experiments and some fun things. I'm going to swap out the neck, for example, I'm pretty sure. I haven't really decided yet, but I think I'm going to do that. Because even though I did a lot of work on the neck and I definitely improved on it, I still don't really like it. There's a lot of difference between the 2 necks, and quality-wise, Harley Benton has really gone down from just a couple of years ago, sadly. But yeah, it's just the way it is. Next to it here, just out of frame of view, is my first Telecaster, which is my Joe Strummer Telecaster. I've also made a video on this because at first I just had it be what it was. It also has a burnt in artwork of him on the back there that I really like, and it also has some text up here in memory of Joe Strummer. And this I got for Christmas on the 10-year anniversary of his passing, because sadly he died like 2 days before Christmas, and so it all fitted in a tragic but also beautiful way. Me getting my first Telecaster, and you know, having it and dedicating it to my hero, and you know, yeah. I've talked about this before and I've said a lot about it, and there are multiple videos about this guitar, so I'm not gonna jump too much into it, but it's a really nice guitar. And it's also pretty light, it's not super heavy, so yeah, it's a nice guitar. The only thing I don't really like is that I did the neck work before I knew too much about guitars and still knew about woodworking. So it does say Fender on it, it does say Nocaster, and it does have this text here, so hopefully no one would ever mistake it for a Fender. But I really don't like that it says Fender, because I'm giving them for my work. I'm giving them something for my work when the neck I have made and the body and all of that isn't as good as the things that I've made. But yeah, there it is, and I like it. Alright, so now we're getting to the guitars behind my drum set, which is a little bit annoying to get out without hitting something. This guitar you've seen before, hopefully. It depends on how long you've been subscribed and how much you've been looking. But this guitar is, I don't know why, I don't know why, but I decided that I was going to make a multi-scale neck guitar, which is something that I kind of regret now because it's not really something that I'm into. It's a really nice guitar, but I think I would personally enjoy it more if I had done that maybe a little bit different. But it's a really cool guitar. It has slick pickups in it, and it's an ash body, but it's covered in leather. So it's not like painted or epoxied or anything like that. This is actual real leather, and it's leather wrapped around. And it's really nice and comfortable and all that, and it has a super thin neck. It's probably the thinnest neck I have on any guitar. Maybe even a bit too thin, but it's cool. It's cool. The neck is Siberian Larch, which is a wood that I really like, that I think makes, I think it's really good for guitar building. Again, the whole tone wood and wood, does it matter thing, I don't really want to get into. I personally think that the only thing that's important is if you're having fun. And if you're having fun with wood, then it does matter. But if you don't have fun with wood, you know, do whatever you want. But it's one of those woods that I wish more people would experiment with, because I think you could do some cool things with it. And I've done some really nice guitars using Siberian Larch. For example, Miranda I showed you, I forgot to tell you it's Siberian Larch, for example. And then next on the line to the side, we have that guitar right here. This is my first guitar that I ever owned. And it is, it's named Dorian, after Dorian Gray, because I love me some Oscar Wilde. And it has Fender noiseless pickups that I found second hand, and I got them, I don't remember exactly what I got them for, but I got them like for 1/4 or something of the price. And this guitar needed new pickups because the original ones were dead, and I didn't want to replace with you know, something inexpensive or cheaper. I wanted to let the guitar get better. Usually when something breaks, I want to buy something better, improve. And this guitar has a strange It looks relict, I know, but it's not relict because it has a story behind the relicking. And this is why I'm sort of like, you know, when people talk about online, like it's always narrow-minded and boring, and everyone always has an opinion, but they don't know why they have an opinion. And the thing is, this guitar I completely destroyed. Like some sort of weird, crazy Kurt Cobain thing or something, you know, like I dropped an anvil on the guitar and split it. This entire piece here fell off. I broke off the tuners. I mean, I smashed the headstock. That's why it has a new headstock shape that I basically just draw out. And I repainted it. It originally were black, and yeah, all these relics you see here, they are actual dings and scratches and marks on the guitar that I actually did. The same thing with this. Obviously they didn't look this way. This is a reconstruction, because when I decided that, hey, I probably should repaint the guitar, I was very worried about all the dings and scratches that I had put on the guitar and making sure that they were translated over. So I documented them, and I masked things off, and I repainted the guitar and made sure that even though it's gonna, you know, be new paint, it was still marred in the same way. And it was just a restoration job slash a relic job slash redefining the guitar in a way that would make it into something that fitted who I am better than just being a black boring Strat, but also still paying attention to, you know, who I've been and who I was and all that. And it's the same thing with these. Like, you can see this pattern here. It doesn't really make sense for a relic to look like that, because it wouldn't look like that naturally, but it's because that's what happens when you drop an anvil on a guitar. It's, you know. And it's the same thing. It has a hole here, which I don't know if you can even see. But that's not correct for a relic guitar. That's not how it's supposed to look. And that's because as a goth teenager, I thought it was really cool to put in a bullet into the guitar, drill a hole into the guitar and put in a bullet, an actual real bullet, and inlay it there, and, you know, make it look like someone shot at me. Super lame, but yeah, there it is. And yeah, it's this guitar is in some ways my favorite guitar, but in some ways is my least favorite, because it's always been a struggle. It's one of those guitars where it's like, why aren't you giving up on it? It's so bad, but it's also so special to me. And it's a Morgan guitar, if you're interested, which is a Norwegian guitar maker, I think, when I looked them up. So yeah, it was also a Swedish famous person's guitar, that, because my dad has a friend who knows a bunch of Swedish people, he was able to get it for me, so I got it secondhand. It's my first guitar, and terrible guitar, but I've slowly improved on it and made it better. You know, nothing is basically stock except the body and the neck, and I don't know, something else. It also has stamped right there, out, which I don't know why I did that, but I think it's stamped into the metal, out. Did it really poorly, so you can't tell. Unless you look really closely, you can sort of like, yeah, that looks like something. Yeah. And next to it is my red Strat, this one. It's the same as the hollow. It's just been, you know, not hollowed. And it has a mod that I've made a video about and that I think is interesting, and it's this little switch here that activates a piezo pickup that is inlaid into this piece of wood here, that is picking up the vibrations of the springs, so that you basically get like a spring tank inside of your guitar. It's really cool. It's one of those things that also didn't take off too much on the channel, that I think it's super cool. I think that everyone should at least try that once or twice. do that. Alright, so behind here, hanging on the wall, I have a unfinished guitar. That is, I should fix it and make it playable, but I'm too lazy. Here it is anyway. It's the same as Miranda, but this one has a Wenge neck, and this body is actually a over 120-year-old piano. My grandma's piano we had to destroy to get it out of the building, and I took the wood and I made this guitar. It's one of the most horrible things I've ever had to do, to destroy an old piano, but at least I made this guitar. And I wish I had made a left-handed one. I don't know why I did it, why I turned it into a right-handed guitar. I think it was because I was like, I'm gonna sell it, I'm gonna, you know, pass it along. But then it's like, it's so cool that I don't know what to do with it. So it hangs here in wait for better days. The neck is also interesting because I make the neck for a guitar that wasn't completely made out of Wenge. But when I played the guitar for the first time, it was horrible sounding. It was the worst thing I've ever heard. I would say the sound was more like scraping rusty nails on a chalkboard than a guitar. It sounded so horrible. It was the worst thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And so, you know, the whole wood thing, it can go both ways. You know, it's not just about like, it's about balance and about fine-tuning things and making things sound pleasant. And so just going the hardest wood you can find is not a good idea. But yeah, I have it hanging here until, I don't know, someone wants it or something. I don't know. I have no ideas. But it's really nice. It has my second logo as well, because I had a redesigned logo that was a little bit more sharp and a little bit more, you know, but it's a little bit too pointy. It's a little bit too metal sounding of a logo for me, especially since I kind of don't like cool guitars. I like romantic guitars. And then here is my Johnny Marr green Telecaster build that I did a long time ago. I've already made a video about this. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but it's a really nice guitar. Sounds good. Doesn't get play that much right at the moment, but it's cool. And next to it is my LTD guitar that I bought about a year ago or something, except for the inlay on the 12th, which you can't see, but there it is. And the shape of the headstock, you might see that I've been drawing on it a little bit because I'm trying to come up with something. Those are the only things that I don't like, and that's because I feel like they're taken away from the guitar. Yeah. And down here, underneath, which you can't really see, around here I have a Stratocaster. There is an SX Strat. It's a right-handed guitar. It's my little brother's guitar that he should really come and pick up because he needs to play guitar more than not at all. And it's just sort of here, waiting for him to come and get it. So, come on, get over here. Come on. All right, so over here we have first Mr. Burns. It used to be on the wall, but now it's hanging around in my guitar stands. And it's just, you know, I try to move them around a little bit and, you know, have fun. But it makes, this is really cool. It's basically a pine coaster, you know, but I had this idea that everyone I meet and everyone who wants to would be allowed to draw on it and make some sort of art, like a canvas for the world. A sort of, I don't know what the idea was, but it didn't really take off. No one really wanted to draw on it. I think it was intimidating for everyone to sort of like, oh, burn into a guitar, it's gonna be there forever, you know. So I changed things around and I instead put on things that I like for example Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Really enjoy that book. Alan Wake, my favorite video game. You can see the symbol for finding treasures right there. And Red Hot Chili Peppers, Elliott Smiths, and Gorillaz, and David Lynch is up here, and yeah, a bunch of other things, you know. references and stuff like that, you know? Things that you would only know if you... Things that you would only know if you knew about the things, you know? Like, write a comment below if you know what FK in the coffee means, for example. Then we can be friends. It's a really nice guitar. The frets are getting pretty low on it. I'm pretty good at playing everything. I mean, not obviously at the same time, because I only have two hands. For now, at least. But yeah, I have a bunch of guitars that are they're gonna need new frets. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, next guitar. Here is my 1995 Fender from Japan Mustang. It's a copy of a 1966, which is also my favorite car. And I bought this guitar from Japan and had it shipped all the way over here to me. And it's a 7 1/4 radius, and I just love it so much. It's such a good guitar. It's so awesome. It's the one guitar that I fall in and out of love with the most, because if I play too much, I sort of start to notice things that I can't really do on it. But then when I put it down and I sort of forget about it a little bit, I pick it back up and I feel renewed. And yeah, it's a strange relationship, but I really like it. And it's also cool to me, and I'm really worried about it in that way. And that it doesn't look like it's really old, you know, like it's not almost 30 years old guitar. And except for a little ding right there, which I think you can tell, it looks basically mint, you know, and everything works and it's really good. It needs a little bit of work on on the volume pot, I think it is, which I have to open up and take a look at. But other than that, it's like really cool and amazing. And it, you know, that's what it's also one of those things about relic guitars, like that guitar. I've played so much, and you can't tell, you know. And obviously, you know, I don't know who had it before or if they did anything, but I had it for 10 years now, 14 years, 15 years, I think. Either way, it doesn't matter. Let's move on to the next thing. All right, so first thing first. You see a neck standing here? Just getting this out of the way. It's probably not that interesting to see, but it's the Jazzmaster, the Harley Benton Jazzmaster guitar that you've seen on the channel. I did a video not too long ago, 2 months ago maybe, I don't know, I can't really keep track of time, where I put in a Fender tremolo system for a Jazzmaster into the guitar. And I had it hanging on the wall, and I looked at it, I kept looking at it, and then I had this idea in my head, you know, wow, a light bulb went off. And so I took the guitar apart and I removed all of the finish on the guitar, and I'm repainting it, which is what I'm doing right now. Which is the reason why I'm filming this, because I'm feeling like, oh, it's going to be more work, I won't have it finished, so I won't have a video, so I need to come up with something else. So I thought, it's a good time to take a break and record this thing, whatever it is, instead. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah. But I won't tell you what that is, because it's not just a repaint, you know. It's more. But anyway, behind here is another one of my guitars that I've designed. You can see it here. It's half Wenge, half Siberian Large, multi-scale version of the Phoenix guitar. And I made that guitar at the same time as I made the other one with the multi-scale. And I finished that guitar first, and then I was going to continue working on this one, and I sort of got bombed out. And so it's been standing in the corner for 15 years. Yeah, that's the way it is sometimes. You have a hollow husk of a guitar. Yeah, let's take a look at something else now. So, quickly, behind me here is my Harley Benton ukulele bass. If you haven't seen the video on it, watch it. But also, if you don't have a ukulele bass, you should have one. Like, you don't have to have one to be serious about it. You can just have it because it's an amazing, cool, fun thing to play around with. I mean, like, everything, you don't have to have serious things. You can have fun things. And behind here, whoa, there it is. That's my mandolin. It's another one of those things. Like, if you play guitar, you should play mandolin and have fun. It's gonna enrich your life. Whoa. It's just something that I like. It's a really cheap one that I bought off Amazon or eBay a while back. It's called Rocket Music, and it has the little rocket from Tintin on it as a logo. I think they just stole it, copyright infringement, whatever. I can't say that it's a particularly good one because I don't really have a reference. I haven't delved into like the tonal qualities of a mandolin. But for just having fun and tinkering with it and messing around, putting effects on if you record it ever, it's just, it's just fun. Just get yourself a mandolin and you can thank me later. Alright, so here are my 3 acoustic guitars. And this is my first real guitar. Or not real guitar, but at some point I decided that I actually wanted to sort of learn how to play the guitar and not just run around with power chords and, make a fool out of myself trying to, get a band going. Yeah. And, actually know what the chords I was playing were named and things like that, like what is a G chord? I don't know. So I decided I had to have an acoustic guitar and, learn how to make the chords sound nice and things like that. And that's when I got this guitar. And I'm super thankful to the guy who sold me this because it was kind of hard to find left-hand guitars in stores. And I wanted to, because, I didn't have any money or anything like that. I wanted to get the nicest guitar I could get for the least amount of money. And I wanted to play it before I bought it. And so there was only one shop and one guy that was willing to take in a guitar and have it there for me to play, and then, taking the risk of never getting it sold. And so I got this guitar and I played it and I fell in love with it immediately. I've tried, because I know that some of you are going to be like, that's not a very good guitar, but this guitar is better than any other guitar, because I've tried the same guitar and tried to find another one, but this one is special. And I'm not just saying that because it's mine. I've tried a couple of more of these guitars just to have 2 of them because it would be nice, because they're not very expensive and they're horrible, but this one is good. This one sounds really nice. And this isn't one of those other things when it comes to like relic. Like, this guitar is not relic. I know it looks beaten up, but you have to understand, like, I've done all my like acoustic gigs and all my busking and all my playing outside and outdoor, and all of this wear is my own. And I get the whole, like, that makes it better than if it's fake relic. But the truth is, I don't remember all the wear. Like, I know people are like, every little ding, every little scrap, they are going to be a story to tell, but I can't remember every little ding, Like, I don't know what happened up here. I have no idea. I just know that, I've been playing, my arm has been going over this area like a crazy person, and things have just happened. And, like, the frets are almost gone, so it needs to be refretted. One of those guitars that need a little bit of love and care. And I named it Rose because I put Rose on it, and she's amazing, she's awesome, she's cool as cucumbers. And if you look inside of it, or her, you can also see some blood splatters, because I decided to see, this is strange, people, I'm weird, like, how hard can I play, and just like try to see if I can get to the point where I break the strings. And I broke my finger, and messed it up like a crazy person. Here is my nylon stringed acoustic guitars. It's an Ortega, you know, a really nice guitar. It's a lot better than you might think that it is for the money, but it's good. Because I decided that I want to get into classical guitar and learn to play classical guitar, which, you know, I'm more of an acoustic player, actually, than you might think. It's just, you know, if I hadn't gotten into building electric guitars, I probably would have had more acoustic guitars than electric guitars. And at some point I want to nerd in on the acoustic guitars more, because it's definitely the better half of me, or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, awesome guitar. And last is this Fender acoustic guitar that I bought because I was thrilled to find an acoustic guitar, and I've always been interested in the idea of a you know, acoustic guitar with the neck of a electric guitar, to just see what happens, see what it sounds like, see how it changed my playing. But it's not super good of a guitar, and I think it's because it's covered in poly, which is sort of killing its tone. You know, I know that there's a lot of debate you can have about how the finish reacts on the guitar, but this guitar became better when I removed the pickguard. It had a pickguard here, it's gone. The guitar became better, so I'm thinking that if I remove the finish, or at least most of the finish, then maybe the guitar will get even better. But it's one of those, you know, if you do it, then you've done it, and if you've done it, there's no going back. So it's one of those things that I'm holding off, you know. But I like the guitar, you know. It's not bad, it's not sounding bad, it's just not as good as the other guitars, and it's also not, it's not 100%, you know. And then here I have my two SGs, which is super strange because I'm really not an SG guy and I don't enjoy it. So we'll see what happens with those two guitars. But that's a right-handed that I turned into left-handed. It's one of the earliest videos I've ever made. And I've played it, and I didn't do a very good job of painting it. And that's why it looks more relic than it probably should. Because, yeah, I had some accidents. The can actually exploded on me, just covering me in paint. And hadn't I been wearing a face mask and a shield over my eyes, I probably would have had real issues. And that one has a build series. That's an Epiphone from like 2009 or something that I found secondhand, and I fixed it up and made it cooler. But it also has weird electronics with a kill switch hidden in here. It's not a knob, it's a kill switch. And then a distortion control, like my Strat. That's actually the original guitar for that. So yeah, I also have this acoustic guitar. That is my brother's acoustic guitar. That, you know, if he ever decides that he wants to play again, he can have it back. But I've done an interesting thing with this, which I recommend everyone to try at least once. And that is that I have the strings upside down. Basically, the right way for a right-handed player, but for me they're upside down. But then I've tuned them right. So if I play like a G chord, you know, the way I'm supposed to, it sounds like a G chord, but it sounds weird. That's a really fun thing you can do. It's not very hard to do, and it's interesting how it changes the way things sound, basically, because you can mess around. So if you're bored with guitar playing, for example, maybe, and you want to see if you can make your guitar and yourself sound different and open up new doors, then you can do that. So basically having the high notes be the low notes, but still be tuned to the same note, just, you know, a low note instead. You can experiment with that. It's not very hard to do. You just have to string it up backwards, or, you know, whatever you want to call it, and you're good to go. Alright, so, last guitar. And if you could learn anything from this video, I don't know if you can, it's not to do what I did with this guitar. Not because it's not good guitar, it's a really good guitar. This is I promise you, if I gave this guitar to you, you would be amazed. You would think it's awesome. You'd be super happy. This is definitely one of those guitars that could be someone's one and only guitar. Because it's really, really good guitar. But it has one extremely giant, huge flaw. Which maybe you will understand. So, this guitar is a Relict. It has a Relict fretboard, it has a Relict headstock, it has, you know, Relict back, super comfortable, like amazing feeling guitar. Relict guitar body, double color in Lake Plastic Blue and Shell Pink, and it's just an amazing looking guitar all around. It's a bit heavy on the Relic part, but it's really, really good. If you go to the homepage or whatever it's called of my YouTube channel, you can see the background picture where my face and name is, and the guitar you'll see in the background is this guitar. This guitar is like my closest copy guitar of an actual Fender from 1965, and the reason why is because it has Fender licensed Nashville lipstick pickups from 1965 in it, actual real vintage pickups, and the scratch plate is also old, and the electronics, it's all from an actual guitar, and it's an amazing guitar. It sounds cool, it's you know, it's cool, but I started this out as a build for someone, and they didn't want me to put my logo on it, and they didn't want me, this is my first logo, which is the squiggly one, which is cool, but after that oh well, it's a Relic, you know. It also has like baked dirt, so if you look at it you can see like it looks muddy and dirty and grimy and things like that, and it's just a part of the paint job, patina over different parts and everything. I've spent so much time making this guitar, and it started off as something that I was going to make for a person that was very, very careful about what I was building and making sure that it was correct in all the weird ways that a guitar should be, that you wouldn't notice unless you took it apart. And they didn't want me to put a logo on it, and I started to just feel like, you know, I think that this is gonna turn into something that is problematic, you know, because I'm not just making a Relic guitar, I'm making something stranger. And so I didn't, and I kept it, and I put my own logo on it. But it's one of those times when you're doing something for the right reasons and it's not paying off or something, you know, because I have the guitar laying around for years, since 2016, because I dated it. I also wrote a serial number for it, which is something none of my guitars have, but this one has a serial number right there, just because, you know, I don't want anyone to think that this is something that it's not, because it's not something that it's not. Do you know what I mean? I think you know what I mean. It's an amazing sounding guitar, and it's really good in every aspect of the guitar, but it's not I don't know. And the issue is that it's too expensive. Like, if I sold this for $1,000 to, American dollars, I would lose a lot of money, and if I sold it for 2,000, I'd make a little bit, but who would want to buy it? Like, it's like, yeah, sure, you might think it looks cool, you might like it, you might think it sounds nice and plays nice, which in all fairness you probably will if you play it. I don't see anyone ever playing this guitar and not liking it. But would you buy a guitar that is, brandless for that kind of money? I don't think so. And that's the thing. That's the hard lesson that I sort of had to learn, and that is you can't make guitars that are more expensive than what they are worth. Like a brand name has a certain value to it, and you have to sort of try to match that in your guitar building. And so make sure you don't overspend on your guitars so that you can't sell them, because it has like a really good vintage tremolo that is like a real Fender nice one with a heavy duty block. It has really nice springs, electronics, everything is really nice. I have done a little bit of things on it that isn't period corrected just to make it not a problem, because eventually I'll get rid of this guitar. So it's not correct in some ways. Like, for example, the radius on the fretboard is 9.5, and yeah. Anyway, let's not end on a boring, sad note, but I wanted to show it because I have it, and it is a really nice looking guitar. It's a nice playing guitar. It has everything you would want in a guitar, and yeah, I'll have to come up with something cool and fun to do with it, because I can't just have it standing in a corner, in storage. Relict vintage style, Cluson tuners, it's all really cool. Oh, do I have anything else to show you? Let me take a look around and we'll end this video. There you have it. I do have a couple of more guitars, but they are, they're not very finished. It's like a neck or a body or something like that, and I don't feel like showing you too much of that, or at least not in this video. If you guys want to, I can make another video of like things that I never finished that I probably should finish or something like that. I don't know why that would be interesting or fun. I only showed you the things that are lying around when I'm practicing, basically. But yeah, these are the guitars I have right now. These are the guitars that I surround myself with on a daily basis. And sometimes, it's a lot of fun. I like guitars. I love to see them. I love to have them hanging on the wall, just... But honestly, you don't need half of it. But actually I take that back. You need to have as many guitars as you feel comfortable having and that you enjoy having around you. And some people, they just want to have one guitar and they just want to, play that guitar and nothing more. And that's cool. And some people are like, no, I want them like art on my wall, and I love looking at them, and they all have stories and meanings, and I love them. And that's cool too. All of these guitars have some sort of story or something. Maybe not the absolutely latest one, but I like them all. They all have a place. And yeah, there are going to be more guitars. Like this video is my collection of 2024 or something, but it's not going to be relevant for very much longer. I already have a couple of guitars in the making. That we'll see if I finish them before the end of the year or not. Hopefully I do, because it's always nice to have a new guitar to play. But if I don't, I'm gonna relax about it. I have enough guitars to play that I don't have to worry. But yeah. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you thought it was fun to see the guitars, and to maybe if you're If you haven't been subscribed for so long, you know that some of them are video builds, things that actually exist on the channel, so you know you can look for them. And yeah, and if you've been around for a while, you get to see that some of them have changed a little bit without me making a big deal out of it or something, I don't know. Anyway, here they are, and this is what they look like right now. It's, you know, it's the beginning of September, and yeah, at least as I'm recording this, you know, so I don't know. We'll see what happens is what I'm trying to say. Let's end this video, and you'll go play guitar, build guitar, have fun, and I'll go continue building guitar, because that's what I'm actually doing right now. I have a guitar I can't show you yet. Will show up on the channel hopefully soon. But until then, stay awesome and cool. Go and build and play guitar and have fun. That's the most important part. So, see ya!